Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder has finally exposed himself as the true ducker in the fight against Anthony Joshua, should that fight ever be made. And let's just dig into what I mean and what's going on here. Deontay Wilder recently did an interview with the Boxing Voice. In this interview he did with the Boxing Voice, he basically comes out and explains, hey, I believe I deserve 60-40 against Anthony Joshua. But for the fans' sake, I'll take a 50-50 split. Now, first off, he exposed himself when he said he believes he deserves 60-40 because of the Tyson Fury fight. He believes that the Tyson Fury fight elevates him to a status that he should be able to get 60-40 against Anthony Joshua. And then he says he will sacrifice for the fans and take 50-50 against Anthony Joshua. Now let me explain to you what this is. This is a clear duck move by Deontay Wilder to not fight Anthony Joshua. And basically when he takes a rematch with Tyson Fury, because that's what it looks like it's leaning towards, a rematch with Tyson Fury should he lose. Because I can only imagine that's the reason why Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder are reluctant and legally obligated not to be able to discuss a rematch clause or the contract that they have to box each other. No other fighter has those issues as being able to discuss, hey, whether there's a rematch clause or not. Because the reason why they can't discuss that is, who's the A side in the Wilder Fury fight? Who's the A side? Now, you're going to say, well, wouldn't it be Wilder? He has the belt. Absolutely not. Tyson Fury is the only reason why this fight is a big fight. Tyson Fury is the only reason why this fight has pay-per-view status. Tyson Fury is the only reason why this fight is receiving international attention. And let me explain something to you. Tyson Fury is a big name in the UK, and Tyson Fury has garnered a lot of fame here in the United States. But if you look at Deontay Wilder, he's 40 wins, no losses with 39 knockouts. So a guy with this type of record, you would assume, man, this guy must be a huge superstar somewhere. No one gave a fuck about Deontay Wilder maybe about 3 years ago. No one cared about Deontay Wilder. No one cared. When people started caring about Deontay Wilder is when he fought Romain Stavern, and he started attempting to call out Anthony Joshua and trying to say that he was ducking him. That's when Deontay Wilder started this huge fan club of fanboys on all these fake boxing channels, or started flocking to him. Deontay Wilder exposes himself as not wanting to fight Anthony Joshua because in 40 fucking fights, he's never fought a legitimate opponent. Never. And you'll say, well, Luis Ortiz is a legitimate opponent. He's the best name on Wilder's resume. Why everybody's ducking Luis Ortiz? Absolutely not. That's absolutely false. And this is why. And I'm going to give it to you unbiased, truthful, and raw. And I know you're going to hear a lot of fanboys saying a lot of bullshit. First of all, Anthony Joshua never ducked Luis Ortiz. Dillian White never ducked Luis Ortiz. And Luis Ortiz is an overrated B-level fighter. That's what Luis Ortiz is. Luis Ortiz has never fought an elite level, top level fighter. And Luis Ortiz has never been a world champion. So you can make excuses for guys, but those are two facts. Another fact is that Luis Ortiz had a high blood pressure, hypertension issue that almost disallowed him to be able to fight Deontay Wilder on fight night. That's another fact. Another fact is Luis Ortiz was pushing 40 years old. And some people say, well, Klitschko was older than Luis Ortiz when he fought Anthony Joshua. The difference there is Vladimir Klitschko is a Hall of Famer, former world champion, and one of the best to ever do it. Those are distinct differences. Luis Ortiz does not have the resume to even compare to a Vladimir Klitschko. And the fact that Anthony Joshua beat Klitschko, you should give him the same credibility that you give Tyson Fury. But I see a lot of fanboy channels won't do that. Basically, this is the new narrative that they're picking on Anthony Joshua. And mark my words, this is what will happen. Deontay Wilder has already stated and priced himself out of this fight by clearly stating that he does not want to fight with Anthony Joshua, by saying he believes he deserves 50-50. No B-side of Deontay Wilder's status, who's never had a pay-per-view, who's never been a big draw. He can't sell at 20,000 seats. Sell at 20,000 seats in America, and then we can talk. You can't even do that. His fight with Tyson Fury is not even sold out. What the fuck are we talking about? Why is Deontay Wilder so glorified? But here's the new narrative that they're going to portray. Deontay Wilder prices himself out against Anthony Joshua, demanding a high split, which he clearly does not deserve. He's only fought nobodies his whole career, journeyman, and then he fights a Luis Ortiz, a solid B-level fighter who's old, overweight, and who's failed multiple drug tests. And he prices himself out against Anthony Joshua. Since he's pricing himself out against Anthony Joshua, what happens now is Anthony Joshua is going to be forced to look for other options for the fight. Anthony Joshua is going to then turn to a Kubrat Pulev, a guy who's his number one mandatory, a big baby Jarrell Miller, who can basically sell tickets in the UK. But, it really doesn't matter because Anthony Joshua can sell tickets in the UK against anybody. It really doesn't fucking matter who he fights in the UK. Anthony Joshua is the draw, is the A side. And yes, everyone wants the Wilder fight, but Anthony Joshua will sell regardless. But I know for a fact that a lot of people in the UK are looking forward to the Big Baby and Anthony Joshua fight. And you'll say, why would they look forward to that fight? Here's the reason. When Big Baby Miller basically came out and talked about Anthony Joshua's mom, Anthony Joshua was furious. People love that type of excitement interaction between fighters. And you have to understand that people in the UK are extremely hardcore boxing fans. They don't have basketball. They don't have football. This is what they love. And that means boxing is the biggest sport over there to them. That's why they follow every move and every fighter. But I digress from the point. And so Anthony Joshua could end up fighting a Pulev, a Jarrell Big Baby Miller, or he could end up fighting a Dillian White, who's coming off the best win of his career against a Joseph Parker, who is a former world champion. Now, Dillian White has a better record than Deontay Wilder, hands down. It's not even fucking close. It's not even close. Dillian White, in my opinion, stops and beat Luis Ortiz all day. And even if you disagree, and you believe, no, Luis Ortiz could beat White or whatever the situation is, and Deontay Wilder says Dillian White is a peasant, I only chase kings, then fight him. Because he's going to offer you a bigger payday than anyone you've ever fought, and possibly the exact same amount of payday that Tyson Fury is going to offer him in this fight. So you have to understand that Deontay Wilder is not used to huge paydays, and he's waiting for the right opportunity to cash in all his chips against Anthony Joshua. So the narrative is, basically, after Anthony Joshua is forced to select a new opponent, Dillian White, Kubrat Pulev, or Jarrell Miller as his next opponent, then Deontay Wilder is going to come back out and say that he's being ducked. And all of these fanboy channels is going to say, that Lion Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua scared, and give you the same garbage over and over and over again. This is the same man who agreed to all terms to fight Anthony Joshua and then said, I lost my pen. Do not believe this bullshit. This is coming from a man who's never fought an elite level fighter. This is coming from a man who fought Bermane Stiverne and brags on how vicious that knockout was against an outer shape, low level Bermane Stiverne. This is a fighter who has never improved on his boxing ability. This is a boxer whose nickname is Windmill Wilder. His only shot to win any fight is with that right hand. But what happens when you're exposed? And what happens when that right hand fails you? And I know all the fanboys always say, well, look, Deontay Wilder has the right hand. It's always going to save him. Look, it saved him in 40 fights. Okay, that's true. But you see in the Luis Ortiz fight, he was almost out on his feet against an outer shape, overweight, medically almost not cleared fighter in Luis Ortiz, an old man. And he was out on his feet in the 7th round. Some people believe he was saved by the doctor. Imagine Deontay Wilder getting in with Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, a young man in his prime that can give it as good as he can fucking give it to them. Deontay Wilder has never fought a fighter like that. He's never fought a fighter that went balls to the wall with him, that has the youth, that has the power, that has athleticism, and who has the resume to go up against him. Name one fucking fighter Wilder has fought that good. And let's go through his record. Has it Bermane Stiverne? Trash. Gerald Washington? Trash. Chris Arreola? Trash. Arthur Spilka? Trash. Johan Duhaupas? Trash. And Eric Molina? Trash. These guys are tomato cans disguised as competent fighters. You have to understand that these guys are not elite level fighters. He's never fought an elite level fighter. And you'll say, well, Anthony Joshua fought Eric Molina. Yeah, he did. But Anthony Joshua also fought Alexander Povetkin. That you can't forget that. He also fought Vladimir Klitschko, an undefeated Joseph Parker. Anthony Joshua has fought better opposition and better names, and that's why Deontay Wilder holds on Luis Ortiz. But what he doesn't realize is Luis Ortiz has never been a world champion. Luis Ortiz has never been an elite level fighter. Luis Ortiz has never proven shit in boxing. Never. And people say, well, he's been ducked. He hasn't been ducked his whole fucking career. He's been offered the Dillian White fight, and he's turned it down. Stop believing these lies and these false narratives from fanboy channels, claiming and portraying themselves as new media when all they are biased boxing fanboys. That's exactly what they are. Once again, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.